We're going to call to order the regular board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. I recommend the approval of the agenda as presented.
Do I have a motion for approval of the agenda as presented?
President, I'll make a motion of the approval of agenda as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Rudolph?
Yes.
Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Southern?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And with that, motion passes.
All right, I have no correspondence to report tonight, so we'll move on under business action items and the approval of the consent agenda. For the consent agenda tonight, you have the minutes from the November 16th regular board meeting, the bills and accounts for November, the November financial report, and those bank statements have been reconciled. We have some additions to the nurse substitute list, the approval of the 21-22 school year academic calendar, and then final approval on the projects through the state bond, the high school roof replacement and the Highland Park roof replacement. That paperwork is also in the consent agenda list for your approval tonight. And with that, Mr. President, I recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Rudolph?
Yes.
Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Southern?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And with that, the approval.
All right. And now, Mr. President, under item B, the personnel report, I recommend approval of the personnel report as presented.
Do I have a motion for approval of the personnel report as presented?
President, I make a motion of the approval of the personnel report as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Rudolph?
Yes. Dr.
Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Southern?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And with that, that is approved.
For the benefit of the audience, I'll read the personnel report under transfer reassignment. Shelley Berry from aide assigned to Muscle Shoals Middle School to secretary at Muscle Shoals High School effective January the 5th. Melanie Grinnell from secretary bookkeeper at Muscle Shoals Middle School to secretary accounting clerk 2 at the central office effective February the 1st. Under employment, Denise Hodge for elementary tutoring position at Covenant Christian funded through the GEAR funds. Also, Mary Caitlin Finch, also for secondary tutoring position at Covenant Christian funded through the GEAR money. Under other contract employment or supplemental assignment, first of all, just some corrections from a previous personnel report. As far as the Tech Innovator Team supplement to be paid from budgeted Title II funds, that's half fall, half spring, and we need to add Shonda Baguette at Hal Grace Preschool and remove Sandy Armstrong. That was a clerical error. Under Student Council supplement at the middle school, Jill Archer, when that was approved, she should have been approved to receive both of those supplements, and she was only approved to receive one of them. She does that sponsorship on her own, so we're correcting that tonight as well. Kevin Davis, Kelly Nichols for a stipend for additional administrative duties covering for the assistant principal vacancy. We will not be filling that position until later in the year, and so Dr. Davis and Mrs. Nichols will have to pick up additional administrative duties to cover that vacancy. Michaela Aswell, part-time Spanish instruction at Highland Park Elementary. That's effective January the 7th through May the 26th. Karen Posey, Stacy Ade, and Jordan Frederick for additional block of math instruction during the spring semester to cover the leave of Sherry Arthur. Also, Carrie Johnson, and this is contingent upon need. I mentioned the scheduling that principals are doing right now, so this one will be contingent upon need, but there may be a need for an additional block of math during the spring 21 term of Geometry A, and so if that's needed, we're going to go ahead and approve that. Christopher Sherman, supplemental instruction to work with the high school percussion ensemble for the remainder of the school year. That'll be paid from band funds. Dylan Davis, a stipend for coaching duties with cross country to be $500 and paid from cross country. Carly Smith, a supplemental coach to assist with JV tennis for the spring semester. That'll be paid from tennis funds. William Hawkins, clock operator for the middle school basketball games, and that'll be paid at the conclusion of the season. Also, Zach Mize, clock operator for the 2021 high school basketball games, and that, again, paid at the conclusion of the season. And then Lexi Murray, Karen Thigpen, Melanie Hester, Danielle Hillman, those are gatekeepers at the high school basketball games. That'll be paid at the conclusion of the season as well. Tim Underwood, radio station contract. He's doing the radio for basketball, and so that'll be paid from those funds generated from the sponsorships and that sort of thing. And then Tony Word, broadcast color commentary along with Tim on the basketball radio broadcast. And then not a board action item. This is for information only. Malia Hildreth is a special ed paraprofessional at Webster, and she will be employed through Kelly Staffing during the spring semester. And with that, Mr. President, that's the personnel report. Next item on the agenda is approving the probationary principal contract for Jeff Madden, who was appointed principal of the Career Academy at the last board meeting, and I recommend approval of the probationary principal contract as presented.
Do I have a motion?
President, I make a motion that we approve the probationary principal contract for Jeff Madden as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Dr. Rudolph?
Yes.
Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Southern?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, and with that, the motion is approved.
Contract approved. Thank you. And then item D, Mr. President, before I make that recommendation, just want to make a couple of remarks about it because it is a different type of agenda item than you're used to seeing. Several weeks ago, I approached our CSFO about the possibility of a one-time supplement for our employees, considering all that we're currently dealing with as far as the global pandemic. And since that time, I've worked with Mrs. Langley and our board attorney, Taylor Brooks, on a proposal that I'm going to recommend tonight, and you have that information in your packet. Just a couple of disclaimers that I'd like to make about this recommendation, because, you know, there's been a lot of hype in the media about districts doing similar things, and, you know, the media has often referred to these as bonuses. In fact, AL.com had a headline story out that said, school systems dishing out bonuses. Well, let me be clear, this is not a bonus. In fact, it's not legal for you to approve a bonus, and I would not recommend it. It's also not an incentive check. Someone texted me a while back and asked if we were going to dole out incentive checks, and I said there's no plan for that, because that's not what this is. This is a one-time supplement. It is not designed as payment for the fall semester. If you will recall the Times Daily article this week about a different school system making this decision, they use the language for services to be rendered later. That's legal language. That's not something they just made up. So the resolution I'm proposing tonight is for services to be performed in the spring 2021 semester in order to meet the demands of COVID-19. So our employees have really risen to the challenge this year. They've met the challenges that they've never seen before, and they've done it with great pride and just head on in so many ways. And, you know, no words or money could really match the work that's been done this year, and nor can it match the work that's going to be done in the next semester. But, you know, before I make the recommendation too, I want to say to the five of you, the board, that I'm grateful to all five of you for your unwavering support. You know, our employees, they know your heart. They have felt your prayers as they have gone above and beyond the call of duty for students, and they know that you know that. And, you know, we're well compensated compared to other school systems across the state of Alabama. And so I'm recommending this resolution not because we could ever pay anyone enough for what they're doing right now, but because this is an opportunity for us to acknowledge the tough times that we're in and the true grit that our employees have shown and will continue to show in these unprecedented times should you approve this recommendation tonight. And I want you to know I'm not a reactive person. I like to think things through. And, I would not make this recommendation tonight if I felt like it was going to bust our budget. And I've spoken to each of you individually, and you have asked tough questions and you've asked fair questions, but I think that's your responsibility as board members to do that and to make sure that the decisions we make are financially sound. But at the same time, very supportive of our school system and our employees and wanting to do something tonight to show that. And so you've done your due diligence as board members, and I tip my hat to you for that. And so with that, Mr. President, I recommend item D, a supplement resolution for our employees for the spring 21 semester.
Do I have a motion?
President, I make a motion that we approve the supplement resolution as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Rudolph,
Yes.
Dr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Southern,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. And with that, approved.
Mr. President, for the benefit of the audience, I'd like to read the resolution. It says to provide a one-time supplement to certain employees for the spring 21 semester. It says, whereas the Muscle Shoals City Board of Education acknowledges that the dedication and hard work of the board's employees are critical to serving the students of the city of Muscle Shoals, and whereas the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has impacted and will likely continue to impact those aspects of life, including public education, and whereas as evidence of this impact, the governor of Alabama has extended the declaration of a state of emergency throughout the entirety of the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas the pandemic's demands on the board's employees will, if the projected increases in the rapid spread of COVID-19 continue, impose an even greater burden on the board's employees for the spring 21 semester as they provide critical educational and support services while minimizing health risks to the students and other employees. And whereas the board desires to provide all full-time classified and certified employees, contract principals, the chief school financial officer, and individuals providing full-time services through Kelly Services, except the superintendent and members of the immediate family of the superintendent, a one-time supplement of $500 for the additional time, effort, and service that will be necessary during the spring 21 semester to successfully meet the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas the board desires to provide all part-time, classified, and certified employees who work 20 hours or more each week a one-time supplement of $250 for the additional time, effort, and service that will be necessary during the spring 21 semester to successfully meet the challenges of the pandemic. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Muscle Shoals City Board of Education, that in consideration for the additional services to be provided by employees of the Muscle Shoals City Board of Education during the spring 21 semester in connection with the COVID-19 pandemic, all full-time classified certified employees, contract principals, CSFO, and individuals providing full-time services through Kelly Services, except those excluded by this resolution, will receive a one-time supplement of $500, and all part-time who work 20 hours or more each week, a one-time supplement of $250, subject to applicable withholdings. Be it further resolved that no employee shall receive the one-time supplement unless he or she is employed by the board as of December 22nd, 2020, and the final paycheck of any employee who fails to remain employed by the board through March 26th will include a deduction equal to this one-time supplement prorated by days work, subject to applicable federal wage and hour laws. Be it further resolved that no employee shall be entitled to receive this supplement in any future academic or fiscal year adopted this 17th day of December 2020. And on behalf of the school system and all of its employees, I thank you, the board, for supporting that recommendation tonight. As far as my superintendent's report, just a quick COVID update. Each week I get a report from our nurse, and as far as our numbers, and we report that to the State Department. Our weekly numbers in December have been a little bit better than November, and we continue to monitor that. As you know, I did make the decision on Saturday to transition the high school and the middle school to remote learning for the week, mainly due to staffing shortages and not necessarily because there was this large COVID outbreak at the two schools at the time. And we did, of course, put out a message to all of our stakeholders on Saturday and have gotten good feedback on not making a one-size-fits-all decision and letting the in-school COVID data drive the decisions that we do make. Winter sports are underway, and we know that the indoor venues of sports like basketball and wrestling are going to be much more difficult to navigate. We've seen that already. We've had to postpone or pause maybe a couple of teams because of COVID-19 exposure already, but thankfully no serious outbreaks have occurred with those winter sports. We're limiting attendance a great deal, and we are trying our best to follow guidance from the Department of Public Health, Department of Education, as well as the Athletic Association. And, the guidance doesn't always make folks happy, and we understand the frustration, but we're just trying to be compliant and keep everyone safe and healthy at the same time. I do commend our choral and drama director, Hannah Bradford, and the cast of White Christmas. If you got a chance to see that, I know you were as impressed as I was. It was outstanding. They held, I think, 4 shows from Saturday to Monday, and, her students, they just never cease to amaze me. Just when I think it can't get any better, they raise the bar again. So it was outstanding. Also, our band programs had Christmas concerts, high school and middle school, and I was able to catch some of those, and they were all exceptional. I do congratulate Lori Roberts, high school science teacher, on becoming a National Geographic Certified Educator. I think certification takes about 25 hours to complete and culminates with a capstone project. We have 2 other employees at the high school, Miss Eldridge, who's here tonight, as well as Holly Brooks, that are in this group. So congratulations to Mrs. Roberts. We are honored to announce 3 of our own secondary teachers have been named by UNA as Distinguished Mentor Teachers, and we commend them, and that's Beth Ann Crow, ELA teacher at the high school, Mandy Mathis, social studies at the high school, and Daniel C., our middle school band director. From Muscle Shoals High School, we recognize 12th grade student Connor Baguette for being selected to the All-State Orchestra. So that's a great accomplishment. And then this one is kind of a personal one that I put in here from McBride. I want to commend Michael Seeger and Mason McBride for an outstanding job being interviewed by Channel 48 News the other night. I don't know if y'all saw that, but those kids really impressed me, being able to talk to that news reporter in the way that they did. So, Dr. Schneider, I guess you trained them on that, or gave them some pointers, but they did a great job, and I do commend them for doing that. Tomorrow is the final day of school before our winter break. Normally, I would say the final day of the semester, but we did extend that into January a bit. The second 9-week period will actually end Friday, January the 15th, but it is the last day of school before the break. We will have a staggered release tomorrow, and the principals have communicated that out to our stakeholders, but all of our campuses will be closed as of 1 o'clock tomorrow. And the Muscle Shoals City Schools will be closed from Monday, December the 21st until Tuesday, January the 5th. And with that, I know you're tired of hearing me, Mr. President. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and that is my report.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?
President, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a vote. Dr. Rudolph?
Yes.
Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Southern?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
The chair votes yes, and with that, we're adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.